Hello guys, and welcome back to another Super Metal Brothers review. I am Super Metal Brother Matt.
And I'm Super Metal Brother Dane.
We are the Super Metal Brothers, and this week, still Panther with heavy metal rules. This band, if you don't know who they are, you're hiding under the biggest rock on the biggest planet that isn't Earth. Danny, quick summarize for this band. Who are Still Panther?
They're pretty much like an 80s band who aren't an 80s band but want to be an 80s band but can't be an 80s band because it's no longer the 80s.
Yeah.
And
that's all you really need to know. In fact, all you really need to know is just look at this cover. And as you can
80s.
see, everything that's awesome from the 80s and is relevant today. You got animals, you got two hot chicks, one's holding a battle axe, one's holding another kind of axe, fireworks, and Danny, it looks like one of your favorite cars. Is that?
I think it's Camaro.
It's Camaro, maybe. You know, I think it's a Ford. Yeah. So, there you go. It's the band Still Panther. Lately, they've been in the news for just being themselves, and that in 2019 has caused for controversy. The whole Pussy Melter fiasco, where they were signed to a pedal distribution, and they were going to have their pedal distributed through this company. And they were going to call it the Pussy Melter. That brand didn't like them, ended up ditching the brand, and kept themselves, made the pedals themselves, Danny. Yeah. So obviously it wasn't politically correct enough for the company, and they would have lost a lot of money on that. But nevertheless, here we are reviewing their music, and their music generally is pretty awesome. You know, these guys write pretty rockin' tunes inspired from 80s, 90s, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think so.
I wouldn't say today because it does have a foothold in that. Yes, we're taking a wink and a nod at all your favorite bands like Van Halen. To some people would say even Richie Blackmore that far back. Definitely the Deep Purple album Machine Head. There are some sort of riffs that do kind of feel like that. In this band, Aussie kind of stuff, Dio kind of stuff. You know, those high energy pop metal guitar lines that are iconic in that sound. And I think when you hear it, it screams hair metal and just heavy metal in general, really.
Yeah, I mean, some of those bands you sound really hairy metal, but they do put elements of that in there. But they really are glam and hair metal is their forte. And their main.
So let's talk about heavy metal rules. The genre sure does. These guys get it. They're bringing heavy metal to the masses, and this album definitely feels like an album for the masses. Out of the songs I've ever heard from these guys in earlier work, this sounds like far lighter than that kind of stuff. You know, Death to All But Metal tracks like that. This definitely doesn't have much on that on the album. In fact, a lot of it, Danny, I think is fairly, I wouldn't say trepidatious, but for them it'd be kind of like following a certain formula, at least for a certain sound they're going for.
Yeah. And I mean, the other songs do have different styles thrown in there, but I just think they're not ultra creative in their songs. Like some songs will really stand out, and other songs just sound like filler. And songs which really sound like filler to me are I didn't like God's a Pussy, and I didn't like Sneaky Little Bitch. I thought they were pretty much filler songs.
Yeah, I found that for me, there are some great high moments on this. To be honest, the singing is pretty strong off the whole entire record. My man Satchel on guitar is he's a phenomenal player. He's very, very good, and his licks and his riffs generally are fairly strong. Although the song All I Want to Do Is F Myself, it's groovy to start it off, but it didn't really climax to really anything that I was really get into. And with this band, I guess that is the appropriate word.
Nice choice of words without getting sick off.
I really found tracks like Let's Get High Tonight wasn't too bad. It was good. It had a bit of a time change that was a little bit tricky and a little unconventional, especially in this kind of genre. But moving into the certain section sounds cool. Hammond organs, always welcomed in the metal band, in a metal song. But the standout track is definitely always going to be a Ho. It's a phenomenal track, and I think it works really well. It tells a good story, and when you watch the film clip, you actually get to get even more depth to it. But just a strong song off the top of the bat. The way that song moves through its parts is very cool. You know, it's rocking. The chorus punches you really hard with some emotional weight, and even has that Queen harmonized section in the bridge, which, you know, if you're going to rip off Queen, then certainly you got yourself a good song there, I reckon, Danny.
Yeah, so I think you're right there. I mean, track 2 was not bad to get into the album because it's a bit of a party rock feel.
Yeah, but it felt light party. It didn't feel like one of those drug-obsessed parties. It felt like we're going to rock. Yeah, it's like you go to someone's house and you're drinking beers. You're not doing shots off of strippers, you know. You're not doing cocaine with footballers, you know. It really felt like this is going to be a good night, man. Like, how you going kind of thing. That's how it felt like to me, you know. And then when I say other tracks, albums that I've launched on there, I've thought, wow, that's really how you kick off. But Sneaky Little Bitch is another good track as well. It has a video game kind of feel in the chorus, and I mean like that with the flying video game feel. It's very catchy. I got great playing by Satchel, some of his best playing off the track. The bridge is even nice as well, with some warble guitar effects as well, showing he's decent at not only selecting the right notes to play, but playing with the right effects as well. Has a very Foo Fighters verse as well, which is make of that what you will, Danny. But aside from the last track, which is an acoustic, and the first track, which is a reference to a really bad documentary, from what I've heard, 80s documentary called Parking Lot Heavy Metal, there isn't much else to talk about. I think we talked about the best of it and the worst of it already. It's a very short album, and that's the thing we're getting at.
Yeah, considering it's 9 songs long album, it's only 34 minutes, 35 minutes, which is not really much of an album. And they kind of like make you rush through the album because every song like doesn't have an end. It like literally just keeps bleeding to the next song. They always fade into the next song, so you actually don't really hear the separation of songs. It's like they're just trying to get you to hurry up and finish the album itself. Like they're kind of saying, no, we're just trying to pump it out there.
Yeah, there's again some cool little moments. The pitch harmonics in the Heavy Metal Rules track has a nice call back to the first track as well, with the words they managed to make a line or a song out of like a documentary where this guy's just rambling about how great heavy metal is and how much Madonna sucks. The thing I would say, one of the least things I didn't like as much was the fuck everybody track. Let's just say it like it is. The lyrics are actually a bit lazy for me. They do such a great job on other tracks in really creating a picture using derogatory or sexual innuendos, and they're so great at doing that. But this track here, it's like, you know what, we're not gonna really think about it that much. We're just gonna tell everyone to F themselves and rah rah rah. And that's what I thought was actually a bad thing for them. I think their beauty is by making some absolute stunners. Things like, your vagina, has your vagina ever seen the shade? In reference to some girl's promiscuous lifestyle. There's another couple of great ones as well, which I've got lines for. When I look into her eyes, I want to masturbate. It's very romantic and something you want to tell a lover. But yeah, this one is just like F everyone and blah, blah, blah. So I felt certain words, they've gone to such great length and detail and fun with it, but also actually making it sound interesting as well. So yeah, that was another thing that was a bit of a pet peeve of mine, Danny.
Yeah, that song was pretty average. That was track 6, like fuck everybody. But a good thing about that song is that in the chorus, there's a really cool like minor heavy groove which was chucked in to break it up, and the actual solo had like a kind of liquid tension, dream theater type solo feel to it, and that kind of stood out, which is good. It shows you Satchel's abilities, and they are good player songwriters. But you're right, that song, like other songs, seem to be a bit more filler. The only songs which I thought really stood out were "You're Always Gonna Be a Hoe" and that "I'm Not Your Bitch" song. That "You're Not Your Bitch" song was pretty rocking and pacing, and had a bit of like a Panther, Cowboys from Hell like groove to it as well, which was good, a bit refreshing, a bit punchy, which is a great song to hear live. Which these guys pretty much are. They're kind of a great live band. They have the sing-along choruses and the chanting.
I feel like this album in general was like a Steel Panther Light. It's like your favorite beer, but easier to drink. So you can have probably more of it, but it doesn't hit you as heavy and as hard as other albums or other tracks that these guys have done. All in all, but you're getting a lot of amazing musicianship off of it. Satchel's guitar playing is kind of clinical. Every time he hits a solo, it's amazing. And he did say that George Lynch was the reason. Because of it, apparently he paid him a lot of money to do it. Yeah,
that document, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But it's all a bit of fun, right? It was a little bit of a trepidation start for me. There were a couple of tracks that didn't do much for me at all, but the playing in general did, and certain tracks off it did as well. It's I can't hate the album because I have so much of a respect and an admiration for what Steel Panther are doing in this climate where no one else is pushing the line or is too afraid to. These guys are doing it in such a way that, like, well, what's your problem, man? You just don't want to have fun? We're just doing it for a bit of fun, and it's brilliant. If you get upset of it, you look like, some nana in the 80s, which is kind of what's happening. People who are crediting this album, trying to get into it, trying to say that these guys are ripping into it, like by saying the joke too much. These guys are still doing the same thing by saying, okay, but that's the whole point, and I think that's the appeal of these guys. Bands like that have moved away from their classic sound, like Opeth and that, have had their fans completely drop off because they're like, "Where's the growls and where's that?" So these guys are keeping that light-hearted nature of it. But I think the songs just in general for a 35-minute album aren't as strong together than other albums.
Yeah, you're right. They need at least 2 more awesome songs to make it worthwhile. Otherwise, even songs which aren't the main songs, it still feels like a big filler album. Yeah. The interesting thing about their lyrics is that like it seems like they write songs and they write it, have a feeling and emotion, but it's kind of like the guy, like the lead singer there, has a bit of a a bit of a mental disorder where he can't take anything seriously. It's
Yeah.
like, we're going to write a serious love song here, all right?
No.
And then when he writes down his thoughts, he goes, no, let's make it into a joke. Because the songs and the themes and the way it's sung all match up. It's just the lyrics are just really gross.
Yeah.
But it's so like everything else matches. The tone and the melodies and the riffs, they all match up well. It's just the lyrics. But even the way the lyrics are sung is all like supposed to be like soft and sweet. But then you hear the lyrics, it's like Spinal Tap's Lick My Love Bump. Where it's like such a nice sweet piece, but it's just crude.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how you would definitely sum this band up as well. Final thoughts down before we give it a final review, Danny?
There's not really much to it. The two great songs I like are great. The rest of it I don't really care for, and I probably won't play again. But those other two songs are really good.
Yep.
If you're still a Panther fan, you might buy us. Like,
you will. I think you have to. If you're still a Panther fan, you have to have this in your collection because it's just an essential buy as a hardcore fan because it's not a terrible album, so you buy it. For anyone else, probably recommend other stuff.
Probably.
Out of 10, Danny?
Well, I don't. 4.5.
Yeah, I'll give it 5. But I'll give you guys a 10 out of 10 for just being kick-ass though. Like, my feelings of the album or not, whatever. Like, these guys are the best, and you guys should definitely check them out. If this album sounds more like your thing, if you want something a little bit lighter and something easy to get into this band, it's probably a good start. But there's probably other albums that these guys have done that might reflect it. But in saying that, long live Steel Panther though. They're still a great band, still a great time, and I'm sure you get something out of this album if you just check it out at least once.
And in the words of Steel Panther, well, there's a lot of crude words. This is
Pick
one.
your favourite.
This one. Couldn't make no money as a singer. Didn't seem to get too far. So I sell pop brownies and Vicodin from the back seat of my car.
I don't think it is, but that's okay. Yeah, these guys probably don't do that anymore, but at one point maybe they did. Nevertheless, go Steel Panther.
Spotify ain't paying, so
well, that's it. You know, I've seen their merch. I went to an Australian website, $50 for a T-shirt. I mean, wow. Might as well just get it sent overseas. Might as well get a plane trip overseas and buy it from their shop and come back because you're probably getting it cheaper.
It's not even postage, man.
Not
Australia,
even
that'd be like $50 postage as well, and that's probably American. So got to add on Australian dollars.
So let's know what you guys think of the latest Steel Panther, or if you actually want us to review an album that's either come out now or a retro review, we're more than happy to check them out.
Retro review Steel Panther, controversy.
Might be an idea. Until then, we are Super Metal Brothers. I am Super Metal Brother Bats.
And I'm Super Brother Dane.
We'll catch you in the next Super Metal Brothers video.